Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brian and Dylan Take on the World. In this episode, we're recapping Solo, a Star Wars story, and boy, I'm sure we're going to have some interesting things to say about it, especially because it apparently is like the biggest box office bomb in history, so I hope you enjoy the show.
Yeah, welcome back to Brian and Dylan Take on the World. I am your host, who you love the most, Dylan. I am joined by my good friend Brian. Brian, say hello to whoever is listening.
Hey, hopefully there's some people listening. How's it going, Dylan? How are you doing?
It's going good. It's been a little while since we talked.
Yes, I was out of commission by surviving Maine, which is a thing that will mean nothing to anyone right now and will hopefully mean something to some people in the future. And I didn't get to see Deadpool, so we didn't do a comic book, or rather a movie review last week, but we're back to talk about Han Solo.
Yes, and we are late. And we're even later than I projected because my internet is now on the Sniggle Fritz.
Sorry,
and also it could be the same cyber terrorism that we experienced when we tried to do Ready Player One. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like anytime there's these big movies that we enjoy, but the rest of the rest of like critics don't really love, especially YouTube critics, that we just get like attacked, and they try to hold us down, but we won't be stopped.
Yes. So for those of you not following, Brian was tricked to go up into the woods in Maine to record a show similar to Survivor. Mm-hmm. He got up there and there was no one up there. And Brian quickly realized that he had been abandoned in the middle of the woods with nothing left to survive. And Brian, by the grace of God, survived, got out of the woods, a changed man, may I say that.
Right.
He's changed. You'll tell by his tone in the show. But thank God he's back. He's here now. He hasn't seen Deadpool yet. That's because the middle of the woods doesn't have movie theaters for Deadpool.
Fortunately not, yeah.
But the first thing he did when he got back from being stranded in the middle of the woods, he went and saw Solo. He said, Dylan, I'm going to see Solo. I don't care that I may have rabies. So here we are.
It was, after we could just like... I maybe encountered Chewie in the woods. Who knows? But, I'm happy to have made it back alive. I'm happy to not have been bitten by any ticks, because that was my main fear the whole weekend.
That you know of.
Yeah. I was very thorough. I tucked my pants into my socks and everything. Looked like a real dweeb. So not that different from usual.
Well, you're here now, and that's all that matters.
Exactly.
So today we are talking Solo, a Star Wars story, which I actually am literally just coming from the theater from seeing for a second time.
Okay.
And I am very, very excited to talk about that, as I know you are. But first, let's jump into some of the topics that are relevant right now. So Fallout 76 has been announced.
Yes.
Kind of like on trend with a lot of the other ridiculous game titles that are coming out right now. Like we have Red Dead Redemption 2, even though the entire Red Dead series has always been Red Dead something different. Right. We have Battlefield V to follow up Battlefield 1. Mm-hmm. V also stands for 5 for the kids out there keeping track. Mm-hmm. So we have 5 following up 1. And then now we have Fallout 76 following up Fallout 4.
Yeah, so we're not really sure what this is. Because he didn't give us any info. He just gave us a pretty neat trailer that intentionally tricked us into thinking it was a Fallout 3 remastered trailer, which, I did not appreciate, because I looked foolish when I was like, oh, it's Fallout 3 remastered. And then they're like, nope, nope, it's not. And so I also saw someone online said that this stream hyped people up too much and they had to skip from 4 to 76, just straight to it, which I enjoyed. But I think I'm a fairly big fan of Fallout. Would you say that you're a fan of it as well?
In terms of series for video games, it's definitely top 5 for me. Right. It's a game that I'll buy like the day it comes out. Yeah. So I was really, really excited when I first saw them tease the announcement of this, like a day before they actually announced it, when they released the typical What did it say? It was like warning,
Yeah, please stand
coming
by
soon.
stream.
Please stand by. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. So it was like please stand by, and I think they did the same thing for Fallout 4 as well. So I was getting super excited. Part of me was like, "There's no way that they're already doing another Fallout," because I would have been shocked if they skipped over doing another Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, me
But
too. Actually, like that would be a really strange turn for them to make here.
yeah, but apparently they are. So I once I saw the trailer, I got really, really excited. I'm like, oh, Fallout 76. We've heard of Vault 76 referenced a lot before in the series. And I'm like, all right, great, another Fallout. I mean, I love the Elder Scrolls, but I guess I'll take another Fallout. Count me in. And then news started trickling out. Leaks started happening that it's going to be an online survival RPG for whatever that means.
It's a lot of words, certainly.
So, like in a matter of basically like 2 hours, I think this leak came out rather quickly. I went from like incredibly excited, like, oh, let's fucking do it, like another Fallout, to a Fallout 76, an online survival RPG. So I don't know what quite to make of that. It's the type of thing where I'm incredibly skeptical about it now, because this is uncharted waters for Fallout. They've never done anything like this. Fallout's been more of a single-player RPG, story-driven game. Online survival doesn't really seem like that.
No, definitely not. And it was funny because I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's like Rust," and I was like, "Okay, it's like Rust. That's interesting."
Yeah, everyone's favorite game, Rust.
And then today, right before I went on, I saw like other leakers being like, it's nothing like Rust, actually. I'm like, I don't know who to believe now.
And with all these leaks, I'm even more skeptical of how far along this project actually is. Like, is this like almost complete? Is this something we're going to get come holiday season, or is this something that's 2 years out, you know?
Right. So, just going off how they announced Fallout 4, they announced it at E3. Well, they teased it a few weeks before, like they did with this. Announced it at E3 at their own conference, and then it was available in November. So it'll be interesting to see if we get like the quick turnaround time once again.
So I believe that I think it's the June 10th or 13th is when they're coming out with more stuff for this. So I mean, we'll get it pretty quickly. But yeah, I do remember Fallout 4 being announced, and like it really seemed like only like a couple months later, the game just came out, and I love Fallout 4. I thought Fallout 4. I still find myself, it has a lot of replayability. I still find myself coming back to playing it, but I'm not huge on whatever the hell an online survival RPG is.
Right. I certainly like Rust. I've had a lot of fun with it. I don't know if there needs to be another Rust. You know what I mean?
So like, describe Rust to me. I never played Rust.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Rust is a multiplayer game. Basically, you get to pick a server. You wake up on a beach on a giant map, and all you have is a rock and a torch, and you have to farm items. And once you like do that, like you cut down a tree with the rock. Once you have enough wood, you like build spears and different weapons out of the wood. Then you can like harvest stone, and if you have like wood and stone, you can make like axes to make like cutting down trees or harvesting more stone easier. And then you can build bases, and basically if you're by yourself, it's really not that fun of a game. But if you have a bunch of people, and you can like pretty quickly get up to speed and building bases and stuff, it's pretty fun. And you can go pretty much from having nothing, just being a naked avatar, with you actually don't get to pick which gender or race or anything your avatar is. So mine's a girl who is bald in Rust, and you can go from nothing except for a rock and a torch all the way to like machine guns and rocket launchers, and then other people are still like just having rocks and torches. So it's an interesting game. It's fun for what it is. It's really fun when you have a lot of people playing it. I don't necessarily know why they would make just like another version of it with a Fallout skin on it.
So based on the trailers, it looked like it was story driven. It looked like you were inside the vault a couple hundred years before the events of most of the other Fallout games. Because usually, like in Fallout 4, I think he was in the vault for like 300 years, like 200 and something years before he was unfrozen. So taking place like almost immediately, it seems like immediately after the Fallout happens. I thought that was really cool, and I thought that was really fun that they were gonna try to get a game with that, because I could see Fallout getting a little bit repetitive if you're just basically going to the same time period, just in a different place of the United States.
Right.
Which, like, I say repetitive, but I play the shit out of. I play the shit out of, like you said, a Fallout 3 remaster of a game that I played 400 times.
Right.
So I guess repetitiveness doesn't really matter, but I don't know. I'm skeptical about this now. It's something I'm probably gonna end up trying. And I honestly really hope that the online survival RPG leaks are false. They're purposely planted to divert people from thinking what it actually is. But I guess we'll see. But either way, Fallout is one of the biggest titles in video games, so this is gonna draw a lot of buzz. So I'm looking forward to when they announce a little bit more in a couple weeks. But
yeah, and it's especially interesting because Fallout, the vaults, most of them have experiments happening on them. Vault 76 has been referenced in other games, and it is a control vault. So there's nothing happening here, and their whole thing is that they're going to emerge, I think it was 25 years after the bombs drop, to try to rebuild. So that's all we know right now. Also, it's taking place in potentially West Virginia or maybe the western part of Virginia, depending on people's interpretation of the song.
Gotcha. All right.
So that's a long way to say we don't know anything.
No, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
So moving on to our second and final story, because we just want to bring you Solo. James Mangold, who is the director of Logan, who obviously Logan, everybody loves Logan.
Yes.
He has officially been tagged and tasked with directing the Boba Fett spinoff. Which, first things first, I'm a little surprised that the next spinoff announced was not Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it's almost like they're mad at us. Like, I don't know what we did to them, but
so I do remember a couple of years ago, this was the Boba Fett movie was already in pre-production. Josh Trank, who did Chronicle and the fucking god-awful Fantastic Four movie, he was originally signed on to do the Boba Fett movie, and then I think a combination of him kind of cracking underneath the pressure of having a Star Wars franchise. He was a Fantastic Four, kind of ruined that.
And it didn't help that he just straight blamed the studio for the failures of Fantastic Four.
Correct.
Like, not
which
even
you cannot,
like
which you cannot do with Disney and the Star Wars.
He didn't take any blame for that.
So that fell through, and I kind of honestly at that point kind of thought the whole Boba Fett thing was dead, because we really didn't hear anything after that.
I did too. I didn't know this is still happening.
And then banking off of the quote unquote success of Solo, which I guess we'll get into that in a little while. This was announced, I think, like 2 days after. I think it was really soon after Solo was released that this was announced that I'm sorry. Oh, my computer froze. That James Mangold was taking over, which I like James Mangold a lot. Obviously, Logan was, I think Logan both met and exceeded people's expectations.
Yeah, it's my second favorite X-Men movie.
Yeah, he's done Logan, Walk the Line, a movie called Heavy. He also did the Wolverine, which I thought was actually still a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it definitely was better than X-Men Origins.
I actually like Walk the Line a lot. Walk the Line's a top 30 movie for me. I've seen Walk the Line at least 6 times maybe. I really like that movie.
That's the Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie.
Walk the Line. You're thinking of Man on Wire.
Yes,
The Wire. Walk the Line is the Johnny Cash movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
You know what? I thought. Have you ever seen Walk Hard?
Yes.
I thought for a second I was like, is that the real name of the Johnny Cash movie?
No, that's like the satire.
Yeah, okay. My bad on that.
So I don't know, Boba Fett, I'm like semi on board that Boba Fett is really one of the most overrated characters.
Yeah, for
And it's weird because
all you know
I think
about him.
I think at first glance Boba Fett is like just seems really really badass, but and now that I've gone back and rewatched the original trilogy a lot, he's kind of just bland.
Yeah, he
Like
doesn't do
he's like
much.
no, if he was like a cereal, he would just be like I guess like Wheaties maybe. Like he looks great and like everybody knows what Wheaties is and like you kind of want to be associated with Wheaties, but like nobody really wants to eat Wheaties.
Right.
So like Boba Fett's the Wheaties of this universe, and like I'm gonna see the shit out of this movie too. Like don't get me wrong, and I'm really excited with James Mangold. And I like my hope, and I think a lot of people's hopes is that we get a real like gritty, violent Boba Fett movie, like a bounty hunter movie. But I don't think we'll get violent. I don't think we'll get rated R. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll get Boba Fett running around saying like "fuck" like 20 times in the movie. So,
but what if we get Hugh Jackman as Boba Fett?
that would be interesting.
That'd be good,
Hugh
right?
Jackman, Hugh Jackman, like in like Wolverine, like hair and beard and stuff.
Right, it's just him from Wolverine, but
So-
in the Boba Fett suit.
I guess the tough thing too is you have to find somebody to match Boba Fett's voice from the original movies and to match the clone voices from the original movies also, because Boba Fett is technically a clone.
Right.
So one of the things I heard is that they're thinking about maybe treating Boba Fett almost as like a persona more than an actual person. Like,
Do you think they would cast the actor who portrayed Jango Fett and the clones as Boba Fett?
I hope not.
Just straight up, just wow, no, please.
Well, no, it's just like one. I think that guy was really old.
Yeah.
Would be really old by now for this.
Right.
I guess I don't see why not, but I would assume they're really hoping to go for a star to drive it in. Like I heard something like where Josh Trank was originally going to do this, that he wanted Michael B. Jordan to play Boba Fett.
I mean, I'm always
Which I guess,
on
like-
board for anything with Michael B. Jordan in it. So
No, I hear you, but I also feel like every single role that's coming out now is just like Michael B. Jordan.
yeah, it's not a bad thing, but I get what you're saying.
Like Michael B. Jordan was the runner-up to play Lando in Solo originally, and they ended up choosing Donald Glover. But I don't know. I guess I'd be okay with that, but you'd have to really, I don't know. You'd have to really sell it, especially when it comes to Star Wars. You have to really explain why this isn't the original or the older Boba Fett. Because at that point, like, why are we doing this? You know?
Right. Just make another bounty hunter movie in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we'll wait and see. We're going to be waiting at least probably like 2 or 3 years for this movie anyway. So I'm a little disappointed that the announcement wasn't the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, like I said. But I really do think that's coming, especially with some of the events that happened in Solo. So I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more, especially when we do the spoiler section. But I would still be shocked if that movie it isn't something that's real. But
I'm sure Ian McGregor's like, please, I really would like to do this.
It's pretty crazy too, because Ewan McGregor, I associate Obi-Wan with Ewan McGregor more than I associate him with Alex Guinness. I think he just played that role so well, and he kind of did similar to what we'll get into with Solo. I think he took a character that was already pretty well established and kind of made it his own, and it just happened to work. So we'll get that, but I mean, either way, Boba Fett, 100% confirmed. Again, James Mangold, who I think is a great director. I'm really excited to see what he'll do with it. I hope we're gonna get like a gritty, like almost like a Star Wars noir type film.
Right.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we got a Western this time, so may as well get a noir.
Quote unquote a Western.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. So, all right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we return, we will be doing a quick spoiler-free discussion of Solo.
All right.
Question mark? Okay. All right. We'll be back.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I was kicked out of the flight academy for having a mind of my own. I'm gonna be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
All right, welcome back, guys. So yeah, Brian, we are going to be doing a little bit of non-spoiler and spoiler discussion of Solo. But I think first things first, let's keep it non-spoiler. We will warn everyone when we are going to do spoilers. So, all right, Brian.
Yes.
This is sorry. You can tell the time off we took. I'm so off.
It's all right. All right. So what I thought of Solo was that it is a
Hold on. Let's restart this whole. Let's restart this whole thing. That was
Okay.
such a bad transition.
I'm gonna clap for my
You got the
editing.
all right. All right, guys, welcome back. Brian, as we mentioned, we are going to be reviewing Solo. Finally, a movie that we have been talking and waiting for a very long time. We actually both managed to see this movie,
Yes.
unlike Deadpool.
Unlike
Poor
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
I
So
think
first things
Deadpool's
first,
doing fine. This movie needed both of us
Yes.
more than Deadpool did.
as I explained, I just literally got back from seeing it for the second time, so I'm doing my part. So I think first we're going to keep it spoiler free, and then we'll jump into a spoiler discussion right after that, and we will warn you once we do spoilers. But first things first, Brian, what did you think of the movie?
I thought Solo was a perfectly decent movie. It was a lot of fun. It's certainly worth seeing in theaters, and I thought that Donald Glover was fantastic as Lando. Emilia Clarke was really solid. Woody Harrelson good as always, and Eldrick Einreich.
I think it's Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden
I'm gonna-
Ehrenreich.
That's what we're calling him from now.
Okay.
On. Alden Ehrenreich.
I think he did a good job as Han Solo, and I think that I don't know if it's because people like prepared me for him to just be terrible or what, but I thought he was decent, and it's always tough to play a role that's established where you can't really add your own quirks to it.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a good job, and I liked the movie.
No, I 100% agree with everything you said, except I think I liked the movie maybe a little bit more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
I actually loved the movie. I went in with basically went with no expectations. I remember I was actually texting my friend on my way to go see it, and I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of really not excited for this movie.
Yeah, no,
Which is-
same.
Because I'm still so dragged down from Last Jedi. Not to beat a dead horse, but I just am. And like for this movie to come out as quickly as it did after post Last Jedi, like I feel like now we're just getting Star Wars every like 5 minutes. So I really went with no expectations, and I think that helped me because I was kind of staying away from the buzz because scores dropped for this like 2 weeks before this movie came out. It was like something ridiculous where the embargo on reviews was like lifted like a month ahead of time.
Right.
So I went with no expectations. I went in same thing with the knowledge that Alden Ehrenreich, or whatever we're calling him, had like an acting coach to play Han, which I wasn't buying it at first then, and now that I've seen it, I'm not buying it either. I thought he was great. I thought
Hey,
that
he's a good actor.
I thought that he played Han Solo. He didn't play Harrison Ford playing Han Solo, which really worked for me. I think I may have enjoyed him more than I enjoyed Lando, which is tough because I thought Donald B. Glover as Lando was fucking incredible. Like when he first spoke in the movie, I thought it was Billy D. Williams.
He did a really good job of capturing the essence of the performance of Billy D. Williams.
One of the other podcasts I listened to kind of said it really well that Donald Glover did a really, really good impression of Billy D. Williams, and Alden did a really, really good interpretation of Han Solo. Another great point is that Lando was basically already established at this point. As we find out, Han is still like a young guy, and you really can kind of see like not the childish aspect to him, but more like the inexperience in him.
Right. He's not completely callous to the world either.
No. He's not that at all yet. So I thought them two, they both stole the show for me, and I almost think I might give the edge to Alden just because he really exceeded my expectations, and I'm actually. I really liked him as Han, and honestly, I would not mind another Han Solo movie.
Same. I'd go see it.
Same thing with like Woody Harrelson. I thought he was fine. I thought he did a really good Woody Harrelson.
Yep.
Amelia Clark, like I love her. She's my celebrity wife,
Right.
and I thought she was just fine. Also, like she was playing Amelia Clark in a role, and like I thought she was all right. Like I thought that whole story with her and Han was a little Wheaties. You know what I'm saying? A little bland.
Right. It is kind of tough where like it starts off with them together, so it's just like, okay, so this is just a thing. You know, we don't learn about it. We're just told this is it.
It's tough to get into a lot with spoilers, so we'll kind of cover some of that with spoilers. I thought Paul Bettany as Dryden Voss was awesome.
He was great.
He was a fantastic bad guy for this movie. I thought he did very, very well. It was nice to see Vision back at.
I know it's especially fun. Like Vision's like pure good in the Avengers, and this guy's so evil.
This guy's a fucking piece of shit. Yeah, he was really good at being a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other guys we had a new guy playing Chewie,
Yes,
which I kind of suspected was going to happen eventually. I'm actually surprised that they haven't had a new guy playing Chewie in the new series, but Jonas Suotamo?
Yes.
Satomo.
He's a basketball player, right?
I don't know.
I think I heard that he is a former like college and like semi-professional basketball player. And then they were like, "Do you want to play Chewie?" And he's like, "Yeah, I should probably do that because this NBA thing's not happening."
Gotcha. I thought seeing like a young, agile Chewie was really good. I thought the introduction of Chewie was really good also.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of threw me at a loop a little bit.
Me too.
First,
Yeah, I did not expect
it was happening.
that.
I did not see it coming in. My boy Jon Favreau. We talked about this last time. We talked about getting ready for Solo.
Mm.
Not big on his character. We'll get into that in spoilers, but I thought he was borderline almost. I thought we were having a new Jar Jar situation with him. Sort of similar to L3.
You didn't like L3.
It was tough. I definitely liked L3 a lot more than I liked Jon Favreau.
Right.
Rio Durant is his actual character name. Definitely liked L3 more than that. I liked kind of the spin they ended up using with L3.
So L3 or K2SO?
A2SO by far. It's not even. Yeah. No, that's not even a competition.
All right.
Everything worked for me. I thought this was a really fun movie. I don't think this is going to win any Academy Awards, but I also don't think it's getting the respect it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
As we were talking about the box office, it's as you quoted saying that it's almost a bust. It's failing at the box office.
I've seen it referred to as the biggest like box office failure of all time.
Which that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think we were just coming off of the biggest box office failure of all time, which was Blade Runner. Which I think ended up losing like $80 million or something like that. Something ridiculous like that.
I know like the running joke was Justice League. But you know what? I said Justice League was pretty okay. And now there's another movie that's a bigger disaster. So maybe if I say this one's okay, it will reverse the curse.
So we always divert from the main point of the podcast, and this is where this is going to happen right now. So I ended up renting Justice League, dude. That movie fucking sucks.
Oh, no.
Second time around was not close to what it was the first time around. That movie stinks. I paid $6 and almost immediately found myself fast forwarding. So that's not.
So you're saying don't watch it a second time?
No, leave it with the first.
Okay.
You gotta watch it. Back on the Solo. No, so yeah, overall, I think I'm giving Solo a 7.9. Really high on this. It's a movie I'm going to see for a third time for sure. And it's really refreshing for me to have something good back in my heart with Star Wars. Because after Last Jedi, I think after Last Jedi, I don't know if I was going to see Episode 9 in like opening night. Like I think Last Jedi had that kind of effect on me where I played in with Solo that I just was not as excited. But god damn it, I'm glad I went and saw this opening night. And I honestly, that's all I could think about after I saw it. Ron Howard, I don't know what happened with the two other guys, the Lego Movie boys. But
Lord and Miller.
Ron Howard is such a great actor, and Lawrence Kasdan, who directed and wrote Empire Strikes Back, really gave it like that gritty aspect to this movie because sometimes it's really dark. I think the first act, I've heard a lot of people say that it was like borderline unwatchable. I thought the first act was fine.
I actually had heard a lot of people were complaining that it like takes forever to get going. But I like watched it and I was like, it's like the whole thing is going. I don't know what they're talking about. It's like one action scene to the next. You know, we got like chases and then war scenes and then like, you know, crazy heist antics. You know, it's the whole time it's going. I disagree. I sometimes feel like maybe I saw a different movie.
I'm 100% there with you. I think that I think a lot of people were waiting for Lando. Lando doesn't come until about halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
Which some people have to.
He's not the main character.
No, he's not. 120% he's not. And I remember saying this to you a few days ago after I first saw it. I actually think they should have left Lando out of this movie. I think that they should have made this. I think they should have made this just a him meeting Chewie movie because I really think they could turn this Solo thing into a series. Like I think they could do a trilogy of Solo because as of right now we're 10 years before New Hope. I think that's the official timeline period is that we're 10 years before New Hope.
Right.
So I think I would have. It was almost convenient storytelling that you have him meeting Chewie and Lando like a couple days apart from each other. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I get that. I get that entirely.
But overall, for the story, you needed to introduce a lot of other things that came with Lando, so I get it. And like I said, Donald Glover fucking crushed it. But I don't think that Lando necessarily made this movie. Like I think this movie would have been fine in terms of story without Lando, but I'm obviously glad he's in there. And like I said, I really hope we get another Solo movie because I hope that wasn't the final time that we see that Lando and Han see each other between then and Cloud City.
Right. I think the bigger thing than Lando, obviously Lando's an important part of Han's story, but the Millennium Falcon is like the most important part.
I wasn't really sure if that was a spoiler, so that's kind of why I dropped it. But yeah, so like the key with Lando was the Millennium Falcon, which we already knew from Empire Strike Back that Han won the Millennium Falcon from Lando. And it was no secret that it was in this movie, so I don't really know why I thought to be a spoiler.
Right.
But yeah,
I thought was that not in the trailers? Oh, no.
The whole point of Lando was to get the Millennium Falcon into the movie, which I get. I actually kind of like how they introduced a very, very clean, unblasted, in its entirety Millennium Falcon, and then. I mean, I was saving for the spoiler discussion, but by the end, the Millennium Falcon looks like the Millennium Falcon that we know and love. Yeah, overall, I thought this movie was really, really well done. Like, it's not an Academy Award-winning movie, but I thought it was a really fun movie. I at no point checked my watch, and I didn't even realize it's 2 hours and 15 minutes until I just looked.
Yeah, I thought it was really well paced as well. I didn't feel like it dragged at all.
So I thought the first act was fine. I thought the second half was really, really well done, and I thought the third act was good as well.
Yeah, let's just say there's no Casino Planet segment of this movie that makes you like want it to just end.
Yeah.
All right, would you like to go into spoilers? I have so much I want to talk about in there.
So what are you giving it for a score?
Sorry, I am giving this a 6 out of 10.
That's a little low, but
I feel like 6 is like you should see it. Like 5 is like rent it. 5.4 is like rent it, and then anything below like 5.4 is like see it if you're really interested in it, but like rent it. Don't go out to the theaters.
Not to cut you off, what did you like more, Rogue One or Solo?
I liked this movie more because I thought that it was more of a coherent narrative. I thought Rogue One was awesome in terms of action scenes, but it just like everything that connected the scenes was really weak. It was like they felt like we were just rushing from set piece to set piece in Rogue One, rather than like a storyline that was bringing us to these different moments. And obviously the end scene of Rogue One's amazing. And the dark ending's really cool, and I thought it was refreshing for like a Star Wars movie, but I just didn't think it worked necessarily as as like a film. You know, it was a bunch of cool Star Wars scenes.
I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So I'm still a little. What would you give Rogue One?
Like probably a 5.5.
Jeez, Jesus! I think we're on maybe a different like scoring scale.
I'm trying to be more like I don't want to say that I love everything. You know, like I feel like I came out hot with Black Panther, giving it like was it like a 9.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I stand by. I think Black Panther is amazing, and I'll go see Black Panther today again.
Well, I mean, I'm one to talk about scores. I think I gave A Quiet Place like what did I give it, like a 9.5?
Right.
And then Tamora came on and made me completely feel like a bag of shit. So I brought that down to like an 8.6. But I'm sticking to my guns with this 7.9. Is that what I gave it, or a 7.8? I think I gave it a 7.9. 7.9 for me. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend to go see it. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, most people have already seen it anyway. But if you haven't, definitely go, because I think it definitely it's fun, but it pleases the Star Wars fan. There's a lot of things in it, a lot of callbacks, a lot of call forwards that I really enjoyed, and I'm really happy that we're in there.
Yeah, and I think the reason I gave it was because like I saw it. I'm probably not going to see it again. I liked it though, and I think people should see it because I don't think it deserves like the flack it's catching. And I think a lot of the flack it's catching / the disappointing box office is like in part The Last Jedi's fault.
Part of it, like I said earlier, is that they released the scores, the critic reviews for this movie 2 weeks or so before the movie came out. So the early critic scores it had it at like 6.9 or something on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's already like kind of low when they gave fucking Last Jedi like a 95.
This movie is a lot better than The Last Jedi.
100%. I would watch. I don't know if I'll ever watch The Last Jedi from beginning to end ever again. I really don't.
Yeah, what was the bigger clusterfuck, Last Jedi or those fake nerds episode of us trying to review Last Jedi?
Last Jedi, 100%.
Right.
That's not even a debate. I'd rather go back and listen to that update than listen to watch the Last Jedi.
Right. Yeah, I'm never gonna watch Last Jedi again. So
it was one of those things where now I'm just basing it off of, if I like a movie a lot, I'm just gonna end up buying the Blu-ray. Last Blu-ray I bought was Black Panther, but actually the last Blu-ray I bought before that was Rogue One, speaking of which.
Right.
And so Star Wars is like the one where I'm buying those DVDs the day they come out. Last Jedi, I was like, fuck that.
It's just gonna be a hole in your collection.
I don't want it. Rachel was like, hey, I got you a surprise, and I slapped it out of her hand. I said, get that shit out of this house.
Oh no. I was like imagining one day you have like a wall dedicated to Star Wars and it's just a blank space. And your daughter is like, Dad, what goes there? And you're like, don't ever bring that up again.
I will say though, J.J. Abrams is back for episode 9. So
yeah, I'm excited. I think this got me back as a like real fan of Star Wars. I will be honest, I was questioning my fandom after Last Jedi.
No, 100%. And I think what we need more of is movies away from the Skywalker saga. Like I really like Rogue One and this, especially this. I really enjoyed just getting away from everything going on with the Empire versus the rebellion and the Skywalkers versus the dark side.
Right.
Like I'm really happy to get away from this. We were in a lot of cool locations with Solo. Like a lot of the planets they went to, a lot of like the things they were talking about, even like a lot of the dialogue was just so much different from the main saga, which honestly I really enjoyed. And I would, even with like the Boba Fett coming out, I'm really happy to get away from everything with the Skywalkers, because I'm really kind of fucking Skywalkered out at this point. So,
yeah, well, no, none of them are alive anymore. So,
no, you got fucking you still got Kylo out there fucking being a piece of shit. All right, let's go to spoilers.
All right, spoiler time. Everybody who does not want to hear us talk about spoilers, thank you for checking us out. All right, Dylan, let's spoil the shit out of this movie.
All right, so first things first is pretty obvious. Once again, spoilers. If you haven't left yet, like if you're on a bicycle or something, you better get off that bike
Right.
quickly.
It's like, first things first, Solo dies. Bold choice.
Yeah.
Didn't see it coming.
So obviously, Darth Maul returning.
Yeah, whoa, that was crazy.
So, did you watch the Clone Wars or Rebels?
I've only ever seen the movies. I've never read any of the books. I've never watched any of the shows.
So you had no idea of his presence, being like him being alive.
No. Yeah, I guess so. This is after. Presumably, he's killed in the first of the prequels. So this is very interesting.
So not really much for spoilers because it's something that's already canon and something that's already technically happened. So I don't know if they'll be going back in full detail and like doing a full Maul movie. So basically, when Obi-Wan cut Darth Maul in half, he used his like pure hatred for Obi-Wan and the dark side to stay alive, kind of like what Anakin did at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
He used his hatred for Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan just fucking pissing everyone off on the dark side.
The key to immortality is to be horribly maimed by Obi-Wan, and you'll just be so mad you'll stay alive forever.
He quite literally used his hatred to stay alive the whole time. He ends up getting like put into a trash compactor and shot off to this trash planet. I'm completely forgetting the name of the planet. Where like he's still like he's in tremendous amount of pain, but he's using his hate to stay alive. He ends up being able to use a whole bunch of like old robot parts to create himself some legs.
This is the spider Darth Maul I've seen on the internet.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so at this point,
that is real.
Yes, 100%. At this point, his brother, who he has a brother by the way, and his brother's fucking name is Savage Opress. He sounds like he should be working for Thanos with that name.
Right? He does.
So
he does sound
his
like
brother, Savage Opress, who is like a yellowy version of him, finds him on this planet and takes him back to his home planet. And the I forget the name of his mother. It's like some sketchy name, irrelevant. She gives him upgraded legs, and she basically tells him like, "Hey, Obi-Wan's out there. All this shit's happened," and they kind of sideline themselves from the Clone Wars because at this point he's like, "Fuck the dark side, fuck the Emperor." Obviously, still fuck Obi-Wan,
especially.
So he's like, "Hey." Him and his brother are like, let's start uniting all these crime syndicates around the universe. Let's ignite the Hutts. Let's ignite... I forget the name of the other fucking guys. So he starts taking all the things, including like Jabba the Hutt and all that, and he starts uniting all of them into this one giant crime syndicate. And eventually at this point, he tries to fight Obi-Wan, and he loses against Obi-Wan the first time. Doesn't die, though.
Obi-Wan needs to get better at just killing these people, by the way.
Yes. And then so he comes. Oh no, he fights Ahsoka, Anakin's apprentice. I really recommend to watch Clone Wars. It's really really well done. And then we cut forward to Rebels, where he has now created Crimson Dawn. So when I heard Crimson Dawn, I kind of already knew something was up. I didn't know we were getting fucking Darth Maul in this, but it was a name I had heard before. And also, Darth Maul at this point had a group of like super troopers that were all wearing Mandalorian armor, which is the same armor that Boba Fett wears.
Right.
And if you notice in Dryden Voss's office that there's a very prevalent and out there Mandalorian armor. So, getting into my theory is that Dryden Voss was one of the super troopers.
So that's how his face got all fucked up.
That was crazy. I the first time I almost didn't catch it, and I thought I was seeing things. But clearly, when he gets mad, his scars and his eyes just flare up and completely turn red, which I thought that was really badass.
Right.
So Darth Maul basically created all these crime syndicates, and he's like the king of the underworld at this point. So that explains where he's at now. That kind of explains what was going on with him, how he survived. It's something that I thought was a little crazy to put into that movie with no explanation at all.
It was, because I had no idea what was happening until you've explained it to me now.
Yeah, and I also think it's going to be even fucking crazier if they don't put him in any other movies. And I will say, this is a semi-spoiler for if there's ever a Kenobi movie. Him and Obi-Wan do meet again. Well, he's on Tatooine. That's all I'll say at that. And we also get a Darth Vader versus Darth Maul fight as well.
Oh, all right, interesting.
So I highly recommend to check out Rebels because that all happens in that. But that's already happened, so it's not really spoilers that bad. But yeah, Darth Maul is alive, and I almost jumped out of my seat when I saw that in the theater. I was not expecting to see him at all. I heard Crimson Dawn. I saw the Mandalorian armor in Dryden Voss's office, but I did not expect fucking Darth Maul to pop up right then and there.
No, I was very surprised. I think I looked at Alex and I was like, "Is that Darth Maul?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, that doesn't really explain anything, but I'm glad you're here to confirm this."
So I love that, and I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of people that didn't know about the Clone Wars and Rebels. I know there's some people that don't like it, and I can't really blame them because it's tough to go into that with no explanation at all. Which is why I think it's going to be even crazier if they don't have Maul in another movie. Whether it's Boba Fett, maybe, because I think Boba Fett at one point could have been working with obviously he worked with Jabba, but could be working with Maul, perhaps Crimson Dawn. But like I said, the Kenobi movie was what would make the most sense to me. But I'll talk to you a little bit about that off air because that's like heavy spoilers, but I don't think it will be that much of a spoiler to you. I love that. Some of the things I didn't like though, to kind of get into it. I mean, there was a few things I didn't like. How he got his name Solo, I thought was really
yeah, that was bad.
I thought that was
Straight
really,
up, just really
cheap
bad.
Writing. Like, why can't he just be named Han Solo?
Yeah, right.
Like, why do you
can't
have
this be his name?
Why? Because I thought that was one of the coolest parts about it, and that his name was literally Han Solo. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, who's your people?" He's like, "I don't fucking got people." He's like, "All right, Han Solo." The guy said it almost to be a dick.
Yeah, he was really proud of himself. He was like, hilarious.
Each time I've seen that, I've kind of been like, ugh, I hate that. And then actually, to jump back to Darth Maul, wasn't a fan of when he ignited his lightsaber for literally no reason.
At the end, yeah.
And I think that
I think was just to be like, yeah, this is Darth Maul.
Well, no, that, and I think that they did that just so they could have one lightsaber in the fucking movie. Like, every single movie has had a lightsaber in it. Yeah. And, like, they were like, hey, we need one lightsaber light up. And there it was. I thought that was really dumb, and when I just saw it again, I rolled my eyes.
Right. I actually didn't remember he did do that. Maybe because my brain was like, this is dumb. Because, like, just forget about that last 2 seconds. Just remember
I was just
the
like,
reveal.
it's pretty dumb. Other than that, like, I think those are the only two things I had an issue with. I feel like there's something else, but minor things, especially the soul thing. It's kind of just like more like, oh, that's fucking dumb, but it's whatever. I really enjoyed Lando a lot. The droid,
L337, I believe,
with her like thick ass.
Yes,
she was all right.
That was one thick droid for sure.
I did really laugh out loud when she starts the rebellion on.
Oh, that was great.
Is the name of the planet Kessel?
Yeah. The salt mines on Kessel, yeah.
Yeah, I really laughed out loud.
Mines on Kessel.
When she started the rebellion and like the droids were like jumping around on the fucking computer
That was
and shit.
hilarious. Yeah.
And then he walks over, and then one of the droids walks over to like the table, and he says something. He's like, "Freedom."
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. I laugh each time I see it, and then it cuts to the droid that's like literally jumping up and down. It's like the same size as R2. I thought that was great. I also really liked them putting her brain into the Millennium Falcon after that.
Yeah, so that was a little bit like confusing for me. I think we've established that droids can easily just be, reassembled. So like when Lando was really sad, it was just like, it's fine, man. You'll just get her fixed. Thank you.
So I think it was more putting her, because I think he mentions earlier that he could have her memory wipe, but he needs her GPS navigation.
Yeah.
And I think it was more just him putting like her knowledge into the Millennium Falcon, because I feel like at that point, if he puts them in the Millennium Falcon, she should be able to just talk. No.
Right. Yeah. You'd hope that her consciousness isn't enslaved by a chip after everything she stood for.
Yeah, and then there's been like some like people have pulled up that like when C3PO taps into the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy, he's like, "Oh, this ship has a very peculiar language."
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. I like that, and like in typical like spin-off fashion, they kind of have to kill off all like the non-main characters.
Yeah, there'd be like no stakes.
Which Sandy Newton from Westworld, I thought she was going to be in the entire
That's
movie.
fucked.
She was out. Well, she had like 4 lines.
How dare they do that to me?
Most of them were like, hey, fuck this kid. So I mean, her character was like whatever. It's kind of the same thing with Rio Durant, Jon Favreau. He was really like the way he said a Wookiee. He was like a Wookiee.
Yeah.
And each time he says it, like my eye twitched a little bit. And I love Jon Favreau, and I'm actually really, really excited for his live-action TV series. But I was kind of like whatever with his character. I started clapping when he got shot. And I could see he's a typical I could see them trying to sell toys with that guy, but as for the movie, if I think they could have did this movie without Lando, they definitely could have fucking did this movie without Rio Durant.
I thought he got shot in the head, and I was like, oh, that's dark.
It looked like he took like a small wound to his arm, and then when it cut back to his arm,
was, like,
his
dying.
whole fucking arm was missing.
Yeah.
So I thought he was fine. I thought that whole thing, like that whole first act, though, I really actually liked that though. I really liked seeing Han in a live battle, like to actually see the battlefield. I thought that was pretty fucking crazy. I'd really enjoy to see more of that. Like that was a real battle. It was not a space battle. That was a ground battle. There was no fucking Ewoks. Like there was nothing like that. Like this was real. This was war going on in the background. So I really like that as well. The other thing that I just realized was the one disappointment I had was when they finally get back to, I don't remember the name of the planet, with all of the hyper fuel, I think is what it is. When they finally get back there with all of that stuff, I forget what it's called, and they're in like that little like hut, and all of a sudden they turn around and Enfys Nest is there, the guy that has the mask that they were calling the pirates the whole time.
Yeah.
I was really, really excited / hoping for, because like you said multiple times, this was supposed to be like a Western, like the Star Wars equivalent of a Western. I really thought at that point we were going to get a really fucking epic shootout, and maybe a couple people were going to die. I thought it was going to be really badass, and I was a little disappointed when it was like, hey, by the way, this badass pirate marauder is a chick, and also they're the good guys, we need you to help them. I was honestly just looking for like a really cool fight, because I think they could have went that whole time without him helping out those people, because like the impression you get from Han Solo is that he really was a scoundrel and a bad guy up until he ended up helping the rebels in New Hope.
Yeah, well, now we know he actually financed the rebellion, so
I guess so, technically. Yeah. I was a little disappointed in that. I thought the Enfys Nest was like a pretty cool character, especially when she jumps down when like the double cross happens. I thought that was really badass. But I was expecting more from that scene. I was really hoping for like a giant shootout, and I thought that would have worked really well with that. Maybe kill off Beckett there. I don't know, but like it was not something that by any means ruined the movie for me.
all right. Well, we need to get like 12 double crosses in the end of the movie, to where we're just like, just let me know what happens at the end. I'm not sure what's happening at this point.
Which did you see the Beckett cross coming?
Not really, honestly.
I did, only because I knew there was no way that this is where they end with this character. And like, at what point would Emilia Clarke have been able to warn him about the double cross?
Yeah.
So I wasn't too surprised, but they kind of make it like a big like
Yeah.
moment, and like I didn't really buy that, because like clearly the entire movie is like, hey, don't trust anyone. I think that kind of gives it away.
It's kind of little fingery.
But and then
Tells
like
you
yeah,
should trust me.
and then I was like, I enjoyed Woody Harrelson's death. I thought that was like really good with Han. Like, I think the development of Han in this movie was actually really, really well done. Because you get like a kid with his eyes wide open, and he just wants to fly. And then he realizes that the Empire sucks, and then he realizes that he just he still trusts people too much, and you kind of see where we get like the current day Han Solo.
And
so I like that
Han shoots first, so
he literally shot first. Like he didn't even let him finish his sentence,
which is smart at that point. Fuck that guy.
yeah,
he
clearly
betrayed
was
you.
gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed all that. Like, I really thought it was all good. I love the card game at the end, where Han realizes that he was using a card thingy to win all those games. So I thought that was great, and it was great to see Han finally do the Kessel Run, which not entirely what I thought it was going to be. You've been hearing about the Kessel Run so much,
Yeah.
and you finally get it. It was like I wasn't disappointed; it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Which, by the way, when they're in space and they're leaving that planet, and all of a sudden it cuts to space and it's the lightning and the fog and all that,
Yeah.
and you see the Imperial destroyer
That was
coming at him.
great, yeah.
That was fucking awesome. It was I put that on. One of the things we actually liked about Last Jedi is when she flies into the fucking, I don't even remember his name at this point because I don't even like it. When she flies into his ship at hyperspeed, I thought that was like visually stunning, and I thought when they showed the Star Destroyer in this, I thought that was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, I thought that was a fantastic shot.
And
I thought that was really well done.
And I love that we like even go back to like Han always says he's gonna do stuff and then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And he's always wrong. But that's like one of the fun parts about Han.
Yes.
And like when he's like, well, they're not gonna waste a TIE fighter on
some TIE fighters.
There's like 3 just comes out.
Yeah.
That was so
No,
great.
I thought that was great, but that shot particularly was like fucking. I thought that was so well done.
And I think my favorite scene in the whole movie is at the end when Amelia Clark's character kills, the bad guy whose name is
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss. Well, Han is like scrambling to get his blaster, and by the time he gets there, she's already stabbed him.
He's like, sorry, I had to do it. He's like, oh yeah, you had to.
It was so good. It was like I don't know if that was apart from the Lord and Miller, like, it was just, I don't know. It was really funny to me, that part in particular. I appreciated it, and then man, I don't know. I liked the movie. I don't understand why people aren't seeing it. Other than, I guess, maybe they didn't market it enough, and people are really upset about The Last Jedi.
I also think there's a lot of die-hard Star Wars fans who are refusing to see this because it's a reinterpretation of Han Solo, who is like sacred ground. Like, I think a lot of it has to do with that as well.
That definitely is possible. But I mean, if you're somehow listening to this for some reason and you haven't seen it, which would be really weird, you should definitely go see it.
100%. Yeah, it's a movie I'm actually excited to see for a third time.
Oh, we get to see Chewie rip people's arms off. Finally,
Chewie was quite literally a monster in this.
He was great. I loved it.
You really see his strength in this too. Which, by the way, what the fuck was wrong with the other Wookiees on that planet?
Yeah, I don't know what was happening there.
Like, you know the original Planet of the Apes, where like in the '60s, like with the really bad makeup and all that. That's kind of what the Wookiees look like.
Oh yeah. I didn't know where we were going with that. This is not good time to be talking about Planet of the Apes.
Not every time Planet of the Apes. But no, if you look at some of the Wookiees on there, and if you go back and look at like the old Planet of the Apes movies, it looks like that. Like they had like really bad makeup on. I was like, what is wrong?
You're not wrong. And actually, I wanted to ask about that. The second time, it's still pretty goofy.
I thought it was like sickly like Wookiees. So I was just like, I don't know what's going on with that. But
Chewie's like, I need to save them, and Han's like, I don't think they're even Wookiees. I don't.
Yeah, he's like, all right, buddy, go ahead. And he's like, you know what? These people are all fucked up. I'm gonna come with you now.
Oh man, and I liked Amelia Clark's character trying on the capes. That was great. I enjoyed Donald Glover's Lando calling him Han. Just like the original.
One of the other things I also really liked is when they finally get back to the planet after the Kessel Run, and he sees that his ship's all destroyed, and Lando just goes, "Oh, I hate you."
Yeah.
And then Han goes, "I know."
Yeah.
And it was like the "I love you, I know." So I thought that was really good.
And Lando just dipping.
That was hilarious. I
So
think that might have been Phil Lord and Chris Miller or whatever it is. Phil Miller, Chris Lord. Yeah. I think that might have been a them shot because that was actually really funny.
Yeah, that's so hilarious.
When he's like, well, there's people in that ship who are gonna come over here and fucking kill you, and the ship just gets up and fucking leaves. I thought that was really funny.
See, like, I don't know why people don't like this movie. I think, like, the humor at the very beginning, I liked the thermal detonator scene.
I thought that was very funny as well.
It's very Marvel, you know, like, I feel like Marvel has a specific brand of humor, which is great for Marvel. But when other movies try to like copy it, it's kind of weird. But it did work because it is funny. But you know, I think Last Jedi had a similar thing at the beginning with the phone call.
One of my least favorite scenes.
Yeah, whereas like this is trying to be a Marvel movie, right?
My
now.
least favorite fucking scenes of any movie. I keep going down a Last Jedi rabbit hole with you, Brian, and I just want to say I don't like
It's
it.
okay. I'll try not to bring it up again. Again.
That might be my least favorite scene in that entire movie. That is so dragged on and so on Star Wars like. I'm not getting into this right now.
No, I agree. But I thought it worked better in this movie. I don't know what that alien was. She was pretty scary.
Yeah, Lady Proxima, who is actually Linda Hunt, who plays the little costume maker in The Incredibles.
Oh, fun fact. I didn't know that.
Yes.
But then she's also a vampire. I don't know. Also,
fun fact that in Dryden Voss's office was the gold little statue guy that Indiana Jones takes in the very first Indiana in the fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
The very beginning, the little like gold statue guy. It was actually in Dryden Voss's office, and I had read it after I saw the movie the first time, but I caught it when I saw it the second time. I thought that was pretty cool.
Interesting. So, can we confirm at this point that Indiana Jones and Star Wars take place in the same universe?
That's what to say. I'm actually really happy that a lot of them survived Thanos' snap.
It's just all of these Disney properties are just the same universe.
I mean, Peter Quill is basically fucking based off of Han Solo,
right? So
it's nice to see that.
And this is a long time ago. Remember?
Yeah, and it's in a galaxy far, far away, so maybe it didn't affect
his snap didn't reach it.
But no, and I mentioned it earlier. I was glad to see the Millennium Falcon clean at first, but I liked how they got rid of the front part and they said it was an escape pod, and then it's all fucked up after that once they get back.
Yeah, it loses its dish just like it always does.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the Millennium Falcon. Yeah. All right, buddy, it's been good. It was nice to finally jump back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we're back to it, back to the grind. And I think that we are probably the biggest defenders of Solo now in the universe.
I'll defend it to the grave, man. I really love Solo, and maybe eventually you can see Deadpool 2, and we can I can tell you how much I love Deadpool 2.
We can do a late review of it.
We got to do it at some point. We've been promising it.
Yeah,
we got to do it at some point.
Exactly. Maybe we'll wait for years until we're big enough to get Ryan Reynolds onto the podcast, and then we'll have him review it as Deadpool with us.
All right. Well, you can just say you don't want to do it.
It's gonna happen.
All right.
It's gonna happen.
All right, buddy. Godspeed. Thank you for waiting with me through my cyber terrorism attack. It's been fun, and to everybody listening, thanks for sticking around. Make sure you check out We Get Everything on YouTube. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. DJ Clubber Lang. Just follow me. It's a good follow.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe on iTunes and rate it for us. Thanks for listening, everybody.
There's going to be so many people shocked that there's an episode coming out when they see this.
Yes.
They're going to be like, I thought this was dead, but we're not dead. We're fucking back, baby.
Yeah, can't kill it.
Can't.
All right,
see you guys.